John aka Chicken Fillets here. Now recently I've been thinking about my massive backlog. Now I've been thinking about, well, games I've been replaying, etc, and I've kind of thought to myself, I've been double dipping quite a lot recently on my gaming. So this got me thinking about doing this in a video. Now what do I mean by double dipping? Well, let's just say that I picked up this on the PlayStation 5 and then I went and bought it on the Steam Deck. That is double dipping right there. So yes, with this in mind, we're going to have a look at 8 JRPGs that I double dipped. Now before we get cracking on, if you like JRPGs double dipping, I like hearing a wee Scottish guy talk about it, well, please consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's double dip. Final Fantasy IX, which was originally released on the PlayStation 1. In this epic title from Squaresoft, we follow Zidane and his companions across the world of Gaia in a fantasy-based story. It sports the ATB turn-based combat system where you'll be able to control up to 4 different party members within battle. An absolute fan favourite Final Fantasy IX and one of my top 5 Final Fantasy games, and probably the last golden age JRPG which was released on the PlayStation 1. Now with this being a video about double dipping, yes, this is a game which I have double dipped on. So originally I had picked this one up on the PlayStation 1 back in the day, back in 1999, when it originally came out on the PlayStation 1 on 4 discs. So I picked this one up again for my PlayStation Vita, like I did with many Final Fantasy titles. I made sure I wanted to play this again on the PS Vita on the go. Now with this one, I've not picked up any further copies of it. What I mean by this is the likes of the PlayStation 4 version and the ones available on the likes of Nintendo Switch, on mobile phone as well, or on Steam. I have been playing just the classic PS1 title on the PS Vita. Final Fantasy IX is an all-time classic JRPG. I absolutely love the adventure of Zidane and his crew, especially with fan favourites like Vivi and Steiner, and it has got one of my all-time favourite themes within this game, which is Steiner's theme, that boom, 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 do 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 do. That is such an awesome little theme. Anyway, Final Fantasy IX. Tales of Zestria, which was originally released on the PlayStation 3 with a further release on PlayStation 4 and on PC. Now in this JRPG from Bandai Namco, we follow our protagonist Sorey, who is a shepherd during the era of chaos, and it's up to him and his companions to defeat the evil within this world. And with it being a Tales of game, you can expect the linear motion battle system. So yes, this is another JRPG which I double dipped on. I originally bought this one for the PlayStation 4, but when I picked up a Steam Deck and I saw this one for very cheap, I had to have this in my collection. Now this is a title which is seen as the black sheep of the Tales of series. It's not really got the love that most of the other Tales games do, but in my own personal opinion, I really enjoyed Tales of Zestria. Now, to give you a little bit of background as well, my first sort of forte with that world was Tales of Berseria. Now that is seen as a prequel to Zestria. And when I played Berseria first, I got Zestria after it because I knew about the links to that world. I was really enjoying seeing the connections between the two games, having moments which twigged, and it made my experience with this game even more enjoyable. I liked that they had a bit of an open world aspect, or open zones, and I really think that this one is slept on. I do love this title, and I think if you've not played it, I think it's worth a chance for you as well. Nier Automata, which is available to play on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and on PC. Now in this title we follow the story of three androids, 2B, 9S and A2, in their constant fight against the machine kind. This JRPG from Platinum Games has action-based combat which is slick, fast and so much fun. So yes, another title which I have double dipped on. Originally I got the PlayStation 4 version of Nier Automata, but when Nier Automata got released on the Nintendo Switch, I had to have this on a handheld platform because that is the way I like to game. Now I will admit that when I originally played Nier Automata on the PlayStation 4, I only played the route of 2B. And I did not realise that I should replay more because I would have played the likes of 9S and then followed up with A2. But that didn't happen until I played the Nintendo Switch version. And this game has become one of my all-time favourite games in general. Because of the story, it's a heart-wrenching story should I say, the characters which you fall in love with, and the combat within this game is so much fun. And also, another point that I always like to talk about with Nier Automata is the way that the game switches up within the story. So what I mean by this is when you start the game, it plays as a shmup. Then, when you're in another section of the game, it goes onto a 2D style field. It is fantastic, and if you've not played Nier Automata, this is one that you need to play. Persona 4 Golden, which was the remaster / remake of the PlayStation 2 classic. Now this was originally released on the PS Vita with further ports to PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch and PC. Now in this we follow our protagonist, a high schooler who's come from the big city to the small rural town of Inaba, where there is mysterious murders happening around this small quaint town, and it's up to him and his friends to solve the mystery of the murders. And with any Persona game, yes, you can expect the turn-based combat to be here in full swing, where you use the power of personas to defeat the enemy. So yes, another one I've double dipped on. So this one I originally had as a digital download on the PlayStation Vita, and this was definitely a system seller when it came to the PS Vita. Persona 4 Golden is one of my all-time favourite JRPGs, and I know I just said that about Nier Automata. However, this is my number 2 game of all time. I absolutely love Persona 4 Golden. The story really stuck with me, the gameplay, the music, everything about this game. So, what did I double dip on recently? Well, just a couple of days ago, as per this recording, I picked it up for £3.99 off of CD Keys, and I wanted to replay it again on a bigger screen and also with the 60 FPS gameplay. I honestly am so excited for the Persona 4 revival, and this is what made me double dip on this game again, because I wanted to re-experience this game once again and remind myself that it is one of my all-time favourite games / JRPGs. If you played Persona 4 Golden, let me know in the comments down below. Final Fantasy 15, which was originally released on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and had a further port known as the Royal Edition on the likes of PC and one time Google Stadia. Honestly, I'll never let Google Stadia go, that's so funny. Now in the 15th mainline entry in Final Fantasy, we follow Noctis and his companions Prompto, Ignis and Gladius in their fight against the Niflheim army. Now this is the time where Final Fantasy came away from its turn-based combat and went full action-based combat. So yes, another Final Fantasy which I have double dipped on. Now I originally played the OG version of Final Fantasy 15 on the PlayStation 4, especially when it released before all its updates and DLC. So I had picked this back up again on the Steam Deck. Now you could say I'm slightly bending the rules here, but I picked up the Royal Edition for the Steam Deck, and in my eyes, and in a review that I've done on the channel, that is the definitive way to play Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 is in my top 3 Final Fantasies. It's at number 3. I love everything to do with Final Fantasy. The world, the characters, the combat, the music, everything. This was the first Final Fantasy I got hyped for since getting back into JRPGs full time, making it sound like a job, but it was the first one that I was so excited for, and I was not disappointed. And playing the Royal Edition with all the bells and whistles, the DLC, which I had not fully experienced on my original playthrough, just secured its place in my top 3 Final Fantasies of all time. Absolutely love this title, and I'm so happy that I double dipped on it. Forspoken, which was released on PlayStation 5 and on PC. Now in this title we follow our protagonist Frey, who has been transported from New York to a fantasy realm, and it's up to her and a mysterious magic power which is granted upon her to save the world. This has got action-based combat where you are projecting magic to defeat the enemy. And you'll also travel this world using magic parkour. Now I can already see people pulling out the Ross Geller check this guy out for double dipping on Forspoken. So I bought this originally on the PlayStation 5, and I have also got it for my Steam Deck because I fancied playing it on the go. Yeah, trying to push it through on the Steam Deck is fun, but I will eventually get to it. The thing is, I enjoy Forspoken. I have played it on the PlayStation 5. I must admit, I've not completed it yet, but from what I did play, I was enjoying my time with it. I didn't see the big hubbub about the game that many have complained about online. I mean, this game got no end of pelters, and yes, I know that it has got some iffy writing here and there, but I enjoyed it, and that's what's important to me. And hey, you're not losing out, it's me who's lost out on the money. Double dipping, isn't it? Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was originally released on PlayStation 4 with a further port to PC, and now in the future we will see this released on Xbox and Nintendo Switch 2. Now in this first part of the remake trilogy for Final Fantasy VII, we follow the Midgar section of the original story, where we follow Cloud and Avalanche in their fight against Shinra. And with the remake brought a brand new battle system, the hybrid combat system, which is a mixture of action-based combat with turn-based elements brought in there with the menu screens that you're able to choose different magic attacks and special abilities. Now, come on, this is a chicken fillet video. Of course, a Final Fantasy VII title was going to appear on this list, and this was going to be the most likely candidate. So yes, I originally had this on the PlayStation 4, and I double dipped on this game when I got myself a Steam Deck and made sure to pick this one up so I could play it portably. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a fantastic title. The combat system is just so much fun to play. The remake expanded on so much when it came to character development as well, because for example, in the original Final Fantasy VII, the Midgar section was only a couple of hours. It was your introduction to the game. This is a full-on 30-hour experience, where it's also expanded on the characters the likes of Avalanche. What I mean by this is Jessie, Biggs and Wedge. It made you care for these characters compared to the original Final Fantasy VII, where they're only there for a very, very short time. I'm currently playing Final Fantasy VII Remake on the Steam Deck at the time of recording, and I'm really enjoying having this handheld. It's so much fun, and I can't wait for people who are going to pick this one up on the Nintendo Switch 2. For people who have not experienced this and been experiencing it for the first time, I cannot wait to see people's views on it then. Persona 5 Royal. Now this will be a fun one to go through the little history here. So the original OG version was released on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4. Then there was the Royal Edition, which was released on PlayStation 4, Xbox and Nintendo Switch and PC also. Now in this modern classic JRPG from Atlas, we follow Joker and the Phantom Thieves as they look to steal the corrupted heart of the enemy. And with this being a Persona game, yes, the turn-based combat is there, where you use the power of Persona to defeat the enemy. So once again, a Persona title has appeared on this list, and this time it being Persona 5 Royal. So this is an interesting one because I have double dipped on this game 3 times. Right, so let's get through this story time. I originally had Persona 5 for the PlayStation 4, and then once I got my Nintendo Switch, rumours started circulating about a Persona 5 port, and Persona 5S started hitting the rumour mill. So I thought this was a surefire hit and this was going to be a guaranteed rumour. So I went off stupidly and sold my original copy of Persona 5. And then Persona 5 Strikers happened. You can imagine how happy I was with that. So I picked up Persona 5 Royal for my PlayStation 4. But I did put as much time as I would have liked to. At that time I was becoming more of a handheld gamer. Then Persona 5 Royal eventually came to Nintendo Switch, where I picked that up and I have played it and absolutely loved the Royal Edition. The Royal Edition with its enhancements is worth every penny. The new story beats in this is fantastic. The new character as well, she is brilliant, and her backstory as well. There's a reason why Persona 5 is always talked about, even though it has been out for so many years. It is such a damn good JRPG. Meaning I have double dipped on this, well, I've triple dipped on it. So there we have it, 8 JRPGs that I have double dipped. What JRPGs have you double dipped on? Let me know in the comments down below. Now if you like what you're hearing and seeing on this channel, please help me grow it by liking, sharing and subscribing. And if you want to be kept up to date with everything Chicken Fillets, you know what to do, hit that notification bell. This has been John, aka Chicken Fillets, and until next time, tatty bye.